Hello folks, it's Gordon here, hope all is well with you. In this video I've called, oh that's not cricket. Or really it should be, oh I say, that's not cricket. Which is an expression about doing things properly and gentlemanly and in a way that would be done on a cricket field, all proper and sporting like. And the reason I'm talking about cricket today is because there's the Ashes going on between England and Australia, but there's also the women's Ashes going on. And I found it fascinating because you may have seen me talking about women's rugby a lot lately. Over the past few years, actually, I've been trying to big up women's rugby. And at the end of April, I went to Twickenham to see England play France at the first standalone women's test match at Twickenham. 58,000 people there. So women's rugby is making step changes going forwards. It's been a long time coming. But women's cricket has still got a long way to go. And here's something I found out staggering. The women's Ashes is going on between England and Australia. But unlike the men's Ashes, which is all decided over a series of test matches, the women's Ashes has got test match and T20 and one-day internationals as well. So it's different formats of the game. And the test match is up first. It's ongoing at the moment. They're playing, well, I think it's just starting play as I'm recording this video. It's about, where are we? Oh, it's 10:30 on Saturday morning. So they're playing the third day of the test today. A 5-day test. Test matches are 5 days. Or are they? Because men's test matches are 5 days. And this test match of the women's between England and Australia is 5 days. This is the bit of information that staggered me when I found out. It's only the second ever women's 5-day test. Only the second ever women's 5-day test match. So I thought, oh, hey, I've got to go and do some research. You know, I like my research. I've got to look at the history of this. And the first women's test match was back in 1934 between England and Australia. There are photos of it. 1934 was the first women's test match. And since then, in nearly 90 years since then, there have only been about 140 odd test matches. And this is only the second 5-day test match. They were all, some of them were 3 days. Then it went to an established 4 days with the women, but they wouldn't play 5 days. Why not? And they have a smaller boundary in women's, and they play with a lighter ball as well. It's fascinating with the development of women's sport that has still got a long way to go across the board. But cricket, I just couldn't believe that in 2023, it's only the second ever women's 5-day test. And the head of the ICC, the International Cricket Council, which is the world governing body, has said that test matches are not going to be a significant part of women's cricket in any way moving forwards significantly, which caused a lot of hoo-ha and a lot of backlash. Women's cricket is based around the shorter games, the T20s and the one-day internationals. And men's test cricket has got problems. Men's test cricket has got a lot of problems trying to compete with the shorter formats, because a 5-day match that might result in a draw for many years has seemed very old-fashioned. And since they introduced the shorter formats, the one-day formats, which is much more accessible to fans, much more accessible to TV, and therefore sponsors and all the rest of it, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The men's test cricket has got problems, sort of existential problems about going forwards. So you can certainly imagine that women's test cricket is almost going to be a novelty. I don't say novelty in a disparaging way, a novelty as in unusual, not the norm. An event, it's going to be a test match. Does that make sense? I mean, in almost any sports, well, no, I don't know that's true. That's not true. But lots of sports, the women's side has still got a long way to go to get equality with the men's side, which is why I've always been fascinated about women's sport, trying to understand why there's this difference, why sport has always been so dominated. And the main reason is because these national sports bodies and world sports bodies are run by men, and a lot of the television companies and the main sponsors, they're run by men who grew up watching sport, men's sport. So the understanding of women's sport, full stop, is poor. I think it's fair to say, but staggering for me. Let me know if you knew the history of women's Test cricket, if you're watching the Ashes series between England and Australia. Now, Australia are hot favourites to win the whole series. They are dominant in the short formats of the game. But the first 2 days, it's been a very batting, what they call a batting wicket in cricket terms. So it's easier for the batters to run up a high score than for the bowlers to take a lot of wickets. So it's got a draw written all over it for me. But there we go. We'll see. I'm slipping into cricket waffle mode there. Cricket punditry I'm slipping into. So I'm going to slip out of it and sign off for now. Let me know what you think. I'll hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below wherever you had to be seeing this video. Signing off for now. Wishing you as ever health and happiness. I'll speak to you again soon.